Let's talk about Miami just for a quick moment. Shout out to Xavier Restrepo breaking the all-time receiving yardage record, surpassing Santana Moss in that last game against Duke, the Manny/Mario Bowl. As some people called it, the Cuban Bowl, the Cafe con Leche Bowl, the Calle Ocho Bowl, however you want to call it. But Miami put some work in on the Cats and end up blowing them out there at the end. So go check out my Good, Bad, and Ugly in regards to that. What's your thoughts about Xavier Restrepo doing what he did? Knowing, I know you followed him early in his career, coming out of Deerfield.
Let's see what Steph had to say about
receiving yards with 2,573 receiving yards. The least I can say is put that statue up, lead him. He's ready for all that. If you are from South Florida or Miami, we have seen Xavier Restrepo grow up to be the man he is now.
We're playing both ways, a little wide receiver and a little cornerback, strong safety.
Strong safety.
You used to hit people when you were a little kid, man. I don't know if you still hit. You got curly hair now, bro. I don't know if you'll hit it anymore.
The moment he broke the record yesterday, it was a very surreal moment for some of us, and for some of us, very emotional, just like his mom.
That's his mom crying in the stand, but we talked about that. Listen, couldn't happen to a better kid. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't happen to a better kid, a more hardworking kid. A guy who against the odds, because the only odds we always think about is in sports is black kid grows up in poverty, parents not there, makes it out, right?
Yes, my way out.
Right, makes it out. But there's a lot of different fights in sports, right? Sometimes it's being a light green, not white. I'm not gonna say white, but a light green kid. You know what I'm saying? A kid that doesn't look like the rest of the football players, who's screaming loud in the crowd, "Hey, I'm just as good as them," and nobody assumes that they're good as them. They got to prove themselves over and over again. The parents get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different fights in sports, but we usually only really hear one story. But this is one of those stories, man. Well, I've told y'all about Restrepo numerous times, and his uncle's calling me when he was 9, 10 years old, asking me to come see him play. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not traveling way over there to see the little kid who looked like he's supposed to be playing soccer. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, he can't be that good. And I finally got to see him play and was like, wait, like, what am I watching? And then over the years, I just kept seeing him play and kept watching him make plays and kept watching him make plays. And it was kind of like watching Wes Welker. Like, when you just thought it was a facade and it just went for years. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, this is real. You know what I'm saying?
Like Braxton Berrios, right? Everybody made that comparison. Braxton Berrios, the Wes Welkers, that kind of the Armandellas and so forth. Nah, you're 100% right, man.
And at one point, we didn't think Restrepo would be as good as Braxton Berrios. Now it's not even close.
Not even the same status. Yeah. And
you
know what's funny? You know what's funny about him? And you brought up some valid points right there. He doesn't check any of the boxes. He's not tall. He's not fast. He's not big. You know, he's got bigger, of course, as he's been there over time. But I'm talking about, if you look at him on that video with her, you got narrow shoulders, you know, all of that stuff. But there are such things as ball players. And I will say this, in the coaching community, there are so many of those guys that get skipped over, especially at the major power 5, power 4 level, because there are a bunch of guys that can do what he's doing, but they are 6'2". They are 6. Jeremiah Smith, for example, is that kind of guy. But what I believe that sets him apart, and what I believe that sets all of these type of stories apart, is the FBI, the football IQ. When you look at the Ray Lewis's, who got the last scholarship, you look at the Ed Reeds, you look at the Palomalus, you look at those kind of guys, their football IQ is 7 stars. You understand? They just have to find one person that will believe in them and they can shine. You understand? But they don't pass the eye test. You know, they are a diamond, but when people look at them, they just see a lump of coal. They don't know what's inside of that coal. If you just got to chip it away, get it right, shine it up nice. And here's the hard part about coaching. I understand it's hard to bring a guy like that to your head coach, because that's time, effort, energy, and money being spent on a guy that doesn't check all the boxes. And think about how many of those guys that look that way and don't pan out. So if I bring a guy, Street, you the head coach. Hey, Street, I got a guy playing up there at Deerfield, man, Xavier Restrepo. You know, what's the first question you think a coach asks?
How big is he?
How big is he? That's the first question. I don't care what position except the kicker. How big is he? Well, coach, he like 5'10", 175. We know the next question is?
What?
How fast is he then? If he gonna be little, he better be fast. Coach, well, he probably run like a 7. Now, when you say that, you know the next word. The next question is, man, you want to get fired? That's the next question coach will ask you. You bringing me a 5'10", 4'7", 175-pound kid, and we in South Florida?
So how do they sneak through? So how do you explain the Isaac Browns at Louisville who put Clemson to sleep the other night? And that's what he did to Clemson the other night. How you explain the Isaac Browns? How you explain my little guy at Pittsburgh? There was 0. Like, how do they sneak through? And when they sneak through, they're the biggest guys in the room.
Yeah. It takes a coach that can see it. And that's back to our shout out to Luke again. I'm always giving this credit. The Yellow Bus boy, a lot of these coaches that see it have some high school coaching experience. They weren't always top notch. They didn't just go and get straight into major college football coaching. They had to take what walked through the door, and they can see that. Second is it takes a head coach that trusts that guy saying that, right? It takes a head coach that trusts that guy in saying that, and that coach building relationship with these high school coaches that say, look, if I come to you and you give me this dude, it better be that. And I'm going to tell you a guy right now, we all know Antonio Brown was just like that. Antonio Brown, y'all know he's not a big dude. We took him to the University of Miami. He's at their camp making all of these 5 stars, these top recruits look stupid the same way he did at Central Michigan, the same way he did in the NFL. And you know what they said? Coach, he too small, coach. He don't have tape. We just got quarterback tape of him. I'm like, bro, that's even bigger. You don't have tape of him doing it. We take him to your camp, and he making these dudes that play that position there. But a lot of guys not going to step up and step out for those kind of kids, man. You understand what I'm saying? And so, I don't know who brought him. I know Manny did ultimately signed him in, but I don't know what coach was his recruiting coach. And whoever that was, man, shout out to him. Y'all can put that in the chat if y'all know who was his primary recruiting coach. But shout out to him, man, and everything that he's done. Everything that he's done, bro.
Big time, bro. Big time.
I wish he would have kept that ball. I saw him toss it back to the referee, and I was like, keep the ball. It's your football.
He ain't thinking about nothing. He ain't thinking about nothing like that. He ain't thinking about nothing like that, dog. Nothing at all.
Because like I said, I would have loved for him, and I don't know what happens, but I would love for Santana to have signed that ball, Michael Irvin, the guys that he passed up through his career to sign that ball. I think that means so much, man, that you get a personalized message. Reggie Wayne and so forth. Man, I know Reggie Wayne sent out a message to him, but, shout out to him, man. And think about this. He broke the record, and he still got 4 more regular games to go.
Yeah. He played, so did any of those guys play 4 years? How many years Restrepo played? 4, 5?
He's on his 4th year, I think. This may be his 5th. We could pull it up and see.
Did any of those guys play that long?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. But I know they played in a lot of postseason, but again, they don't have a playoff system. It was just that, whatever the extra bowl was.
So he played 5 years, right? But in year 1, he only had 1 reception.
Right. So take 1 off.
And 400 and 12 yards. So 4 years, he did it in 4 years. So I'm assuming Santana Moss them only got on the field maybe 2 years?
Right.
3 years? Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you wasn't getting on the field as no freshman back then.
Yeah. And think about it, they got him right now 5'10", 198. So he probably was 5'10", 185 maybe. You know what I mean? It said Moss played 4 years. But anyway, that's awesome. He also broke the single season reception record. Remember, Charleston Rambo had that record, I think at 79, and then Restrepo broke that at 85 or something like that. So he's broken that record as well.
Like you're gonna break it again.
Think about it. The 105th best player in the state of Florida, the 65th best athlete in the country. 3-star, 86 points. Yeesh.
All right, man, let's get into these brackets.
There's a 4.58 guy. Okay. I mean, all right.
I asked his mom. His mom said he told her he gonna run a 4.4 because I was gonna tell her, just tell him don't run. Listen, but she said he gonna run a 4.4. We gonna see, goddamn.
His shuttle time would be awesome. I think his shuttle time would be great because he's got that the 10-yard shuttle. I don't know. We'll see. I love
Cam
it, man.
Kitchen just proved us that none of that shit matters.
And none of that.
None of it matters. Cam Kitchen just proved us. If y'all didn't know it, Cam Kitchen took a 103-yard interception back and nobody ran him down. Nobody came close to running him down. On the football field, Cam Kitchen looks like the fastest dude out there.
Yeah.
103 yards, and he ran a 4.6, 4.5 at the combine. Everybody laughed at him. Nobody came close to running him down. So, fuck your 40 yards. Your 40-yard dash is all for sure.
Let me tell you this. Coach might be I might run a forever, but let me tell you this. When them Lions chasing you, boy, I'm 4.2 like a mud. Boy, I'm getting that thing, boy. When them Lions chasing you, boy, you better get moving.